Welcome to 2023 Royal Rumble.
A good show.
Very good show. It had issues. There's always a show that has an issue. There's not one time where there's a show that's perfect. There's always issues. And I'll tell you about them, at least if I can remember them, because a lot in this show. But I'm going to tell you this. I do have something I am considering doing. I am thinking about a Gump report that has an idea of something that's more of a conspiracy than anything else.
It's really conspiracy. It probably won't happen.
But I may just make the Gump report on it. And I'll explain at the end of this review. Now, I did not check the kickoff show. I don't think there was any matches there. So what they had here was what we saw, I believe. I don't believe there was any match. But if there was, you guys can tell me below because I didn't check. We got in the opening the men's Royal Rumble, not the women. So, fine. I don't really care. As long as the Royal Rumble is booked correctly, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't care if the men go first or the women goes first, as long as they're done correctly.
That's what people don't get.
I'm being honest here. A lot of people do not understand. They'll say, oh, they're just doing this women empowerment. I don't care. Just book these people correctly. Now, we got Gunther and we got Sheamus opening the Royal Rumble. And both Gunther and Sheamus lasted extremely long. Gunther, he lasted, the wonderful Walter, lasted 1 hour, 11 minutes, I think, 30 seconds or 35 seconds, I think. The longest run since...
The one who will not be named.
Let's be honest. He lasted longer than Rey Mysterio, who did not enter the match. He was taken out by a young, a fresh, a bitch, and a Dominic Mysterio, who came out in his dad's mask. I don't know if I got a shot of it, I will put it in my face. But he comes out in his dad's mask, and he was, what was Dom? Dom was number 18. And he came out with his dad's mask on his face, then he tore it, and then he went to the ring. No problem. He's a bitch, but he's a good bitch. He's someone I am getting fond of, because he is, like I said, he's owning his character. A wannabe criminal or hard knocker in jail, which, like I said, the character, not Dominic Mysterio, the actual person. If he went it over Rikers, they would have made him their bitch. He wouldn't have stood a chance. But you get my point. Now, the first person to get eliminated, take a guess. I'll give you 100 guesses, but there's only one.
Miz.
Miz came in as number 3. And he did not last very long. He was the first one to be taken out. How the Miz has fallen. I mean, what is he doing now? He's not really doing much in the new supposed regime. But it's the way it is. I'm not going to cry that the Miz is not being pushed. But I will say this. When it came to most of the people, I didn't get a chance to see entry number 11 and 12. That was Angelo Dawkins, I believe that was 11, and Escobar. I forgot it. I always forget his name. But Escobar, I think, was 10, and Angelo Dawkins was 11. I had to go to the bathroom. By the time I came back, they were already gone. And the person that came in next after that was Brock Lesnar, who got his ass eliminated. Brock Lesnar got his ass eliminated a little later by Lashley, and he threw a hissy fit and tried to break up the set. So they are trying to push the story of Lashley and a Brock Lesnar still. But I think they need to make it some type of stipulation eventually since the Royal Rumble is done. And they're going to eliminate. Do I believe they should do some type of stipulation in Elimination Chamber? I would rather see them at WrestleMania, to be honest. I'd rather see them have some type of stip at WrestleMania, but they'll probably do it at Elimination Chamber. That's what I think will happen. But that's just me. Did I enjoy the stupidness of New Day and the butt slapping? I don't believe I got a shot of it, but if I do, I'll put it in my face. It was stupid. I don't know what. It's making my scalp itch just thinking about how stupid that was. But they didn't stay in there very long. They got eliminated pretty quickly. The most greatest standout of the entire thing was Gunther. Who was it? Austin Fury. He did very good. I can't really say Ricochet looked really impressive, or Omos, or even Braun Strowman. They are what they are. But I am going to say that when it came down to it, the most best person that looked there was Gunther, and Sheamus for that matter. Yes, he was there the second longest next to Gunther. He did get eventually eliminated, but Gunther looked good, Sheamus looked good, Drew looked good, but Gunther was the best one there. Eventually, as we all knew, Cody would come out, and he did come out. He came out to a lot of loudness, and everybody was loving it. They couldn't stand Gunther. They loved him. And in the end, as you know, who won? It was a... Wait, there is something I do got to say after this, like what the botches were. But I will say, was it booked correctly for a Cody Rhodes? Yes. He got over, it was done correctly, and now he's going to WrestleMania. Question will be, who is he going up against? It's got to be Roman Reigns, or whoever's holding the damn title at this time, which is Roman. But you guys tell me below what you think is going to happen in the next couple of months. Like I said, I had an idea of something, but it's like a conspiracy. I do want to say there were several botches during the show, particularly when it came to Montez Ford. Montez got into the ring. He was only there for a short time, and when he got thrown over the top rope, and I forgot who did it. It wasn't Omos. I don't think it was at that time. It was somebody else. But once he got thrown over the top rope, when he landed on the floor, he landed flat on the floor, not on his back or on his stomach, on his feet. And he literally broke.
Guys, he broke the mat.
I don't know if I got a shot of it. If I do, it's in my face. I'm kind of shocked that he was able to damage the mat. Now, that could have been where the Velcro was. Well, I think it might have been where the Velcro was. But I'm not sure. That might have been actually a bad dent that stayed there the entire rest of the night, because it also went into the Women's Royal Rumble, because you could see the floor was damaged. That's permanently damaged until they get it fixed. But I was actually surprised about that. Also, when it came to Finn Balor, he also had a botch. I can't remember what it was, but he had a botch along with who was the other person that also had a botch? I'm not exactly sure who else. There was one more person. I think it was Elias. Yes, it was Elias who also had a botch. These people were the ones who had a botch, and it didn't look good. But the general show was all right. And like I said, Ray was taken out early. He was 17. He did not come out. It was due to Dom. And I will say, seeing the 30th and the 1st as the last two was quite good. Like I said, I enjoyed it. Now, the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. Guys, as I've said before when it came to a Bray Wyatt, I wasn't feeling it. The person I feel more interested in is Uncle Howdy right now. Doesn't mean Bray's doing bad work. He's not. He's taking bits of what he's already done in the previous incarnations of himself, taking the best parts that stayed and worked, and he combined them all, like the Firefly Funhouse, the Fiend, also making sure that he keeps up the persona that he's already started. It wasn't bad. It's just, for me personally, I felt like he was going to do something entirely different and not go down that path. But that's just me. Doesn't mean everyone else hated it. I know people loved it. I know just Alex loved it. I know JD loved it. But for me personally, it wasn't that I didn't like it. It was that I wanted to see something completely different, a total departure. Now, when it came to this match where it was all in ultraviolet light, I don't know if I got a shot of it when they're in the ring. It is all ultraviolet light. And next to having paint that was fluorescent, So as you know, ultraviolet light, when it hits something fluorescent, it is bright as can be next to his contacts, next to whatever he had on his body. And the face paint, he looked menacing as fuck.
He looked menacing as fuck.
And LA Knight, my boy, was all yellow. Oh my gosh, he was all yellow. It was just neon. It was like neon yellow or something. But here's the thing. Was the match bad? No. When it comes to LA Knight, he's a great wrestler. I've said this for years. Guys, it's almost been a decade. Look, I saw him first maybe around, 2014 or 13 originally. And he didn't get really pushed in Impact Wrestling until like 15 or 16. When I realized how good he was. I saw there was something about him, but he didn't really mature to me personally until about 2015. That's when I felt like he really matured and showed that he could be a ring general. Because he had the look, he had the charisma, he had the attitude, he got the, yeah, let me talk to you. He had it, but it didn't feel like he had the ring work. He does. Now he's particularly very good. And it's been maybe nearing a decade when I first saw him. Maybe briefly in 2013 or 14. But I knew about him in 15 going forward no matter where he went. Even when he went to primetime, National Primetime Wrestling or Primetime Wrestling, I still cared. I've never forgotten Eli. I love him. He's my boy. I don't know if anyone else believed in him in the very beginning who did wrestling podcasts. Probably there were. But I know for myself, I might have been one of the early ones who saw him and knew he was something. And this really made him. I just feel like now that this is done, where they're going to go with him, I'm worried that when you get a certain point, particularly now that Vince is still and it has returned and still could become part of creative again, we may get him going back to Eli Drake. Because we don't know how long LA Knight will be perfectly safe because I don't trust Vince. No matter what anybody says, I don't trust Vince. I don't. But then seeing him destroyed by Uncle Howdy. And I got to say this. The match was great because LA Knight's a really good wrestler now. Bray Wyatt's always been good. I knew there was something that was needed. I knew this wasn't enough. And then Uncle Howdy was up on top of where he was. And then I think it was on top of the scaffold. Jumped down, supposedly on top of the LA Knight. And destroys him with fire around him. Do I believe that was done well? Yeah. But the question is, what I'm worried about what they're going to do with Uncle Howdy. Because they are focusing on Bray. But Bray's story is what? Uncle Howdy. How are they going to book him to show that he's going to be the leader, not Bray? Because as I see it now, it's not about Bray being the leader or whatever they got with him and, yes, Alexa Bliss. Because they are doing something we're going to talk about her in a minute. But literally, he's got to be the leader of this. So Bray could be eased into becoming either a face or becoming even more vicious than he is. I'm just saying. Because at this point, yes, he looks good, but he's not there. He still feels like bits and pieces of whatever he used to be to me personally. Let's move on. Now, the next is Bianca Belair. Let's get to this match. Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss. Did I care about this match? Not really. Look, I was not interested in Bianca Belair dealing with Alexa Bliss. Yes, she is trying to do something with the bits of the story that she already made when Bray was still part of the company before he was gone for a while. Before he was released. But I think it was released, or he asked to be released. I'm not sure. But did I care? Not really. Now afterward, we did get a little video, and we saw Alexa Bliss, and I believe I got a shot of her. She's in my face. We saw her seeing that Uncle Howdy was talking. He said, now what did he say? Do you feel in charge? Or
do you feel in charge, baby?
Kind of like that, but without the baby. This is where the manipulation begins for Alexa Bliss. Do I care about Alexa? No. Do I believe that they're going to book her correctly this time? Instead of making more important than Bray, will she be in the faction where Uncle Howdy's there, then Bray, then her? Now, I know people can say, well, Bray's got to be on top. He's not ready yet. I'm sorry. They got to make this about Uncle Howdy and how Uncle Howdy's manipulating them both. And how Bray is going to take over or Bray is going to fall in line. That's how it should be. I don't know about anyone else. That's just how I see it. Let's move on. Now, what am I forgetting here? I feel like I'm forgetting something. We did get, I'll say this in the women's Royal Rumble. I have to do it here for the men's Royal Rumble first. Because once Edge came in with Beth, destroyed Finn, destroyed Priest, and yes, Dominic was still in the match. Seeing that Rhea got basically speared out of her boots and her boobs spilled out.
That's just me wanting to see a boob spill out.
She's beautiful, okay? Yeah, she's got shoulders like a guy. I don't care. She's still a gorgeous looking woman. And let's be real about this, because this is going to be mentioned in my review. I don't know about anyone else. I have to mention what's going on. She almost had a wardrobe malfunction during the match. Now, let's crank back a little bit. When I saw her get speared, I didn't think that she would make it to the end of the match. I didn't. I thought she was going to be 4th or 5th. I didn't realize she was going to be 1st and Liv was going to be 2nd. I was actually kind of surprised. But I'm not upset about it. I was glad. So we had her and Liv Morgan first in line. They were the one who went through everybody. We did get Michelle McCool returning. That was good. Just kind of like a Booker T got returned. But you guys tell me below, did you notice Booker T getting bow-legged? Because I know his legs were never like this. Because they're ending up like this. He used to have it kind of like this, but they're kind of going like this. You guys tell me below, is his legs, instead of going like this, they're kind of bulging out like that a little bit? I could be wrong though. But just like a Booker T coming back, and he was the only one of the legends, from what I can tell, next to Brock Lesnar, a real old legend to come back. When it came here, Michelle McCool generally was the only legend that came back. The only one. Now, unlike the men's Royal Rumble, where there really was not any NXT stars, here there was. When it came down to it, we got Roxanne Perez came in. We got Indy Hartwell that came in. We got Zoe Stark. Those were the only 3 women that were in the match that were from NXT. For the men, they didn't have it. And I'm kind of wondering, why didn't they let any of the men join in? Why didn't we get a Braun Breaker? Why didn't we get a Von Wagner? Why didn't we get Carmelo Hayes? We didn't get none of that. None of them, unless I didn't see anybody. Because as far as I can tell, none of these people were from NXT. They were all from SmackDown and Raw only. And I'm going like, why? Where are the NXT stars? What if you're going to take Ray out, why don't you just replace him with an NXT wrestler? I think that would have been good. But no, you got Baron Corbin there, who got wiped out by Brock Lesnar. You didn't even have anyone from NXT, except for the women, which was Zoe, Indy Hartwell, and a Roxanne Perez, which all of them did good in their own way. Once Asuka came in, I'm going like, oh yeah, now it's going to look good. And her paint scheme looked good. Her new mask looked good. Her new music sounded great. Her paint scheme on her face was good. She wrestled pretty well. I had no problem with her. Then Tamina came in the match, which is average. And then we got as number 30. And I thought it was going to be maybe Naomi. Everyone said, Naomi's coming back. Naomi's back. And I never said she would come back. I thought eventually she might come back. And if she didn't come back, she would go maybe to AEW Impact Wrestling. That'd be great for her. And we did not get her back here.
We got freaking Nia Jax.
I think I got a picture of her. She's in my damn face. When she got into that ring, everybody whooped her ass to a certain extent and then threw her out. And she said, I'm back, bitches. Miss, who said that she messed herself up by opening her mouth talking about COVID-19 and the injections. She didn't have to say a damn thing. She made herself look bad. And nobody wanted her. Everybody just wanted her out. I got to tell you this. I wasn't happy to see her. Honestly. I'm not saying it could have been Naomi. It could have been Ronda Rousey. I would have been fine with Ronda. I'm fine with that. But I'm just saying I just didn't care. Now, mind you, the ones who stood out, Chelsea Green stood out because she only lasted 5 seconds in the damn match. Then we got Selena Vega, who's going to be doing commentary for Street Fighter 7, I believe, or 6. And she was dressed as a Street Fighter fighter. To be honest, I haven't been playing Street Fighter in so many years. I haven't known any of the current Street Fighter characters, so I didn't recognize it. The one that she was portraying, but she didn't do that bad in the match. At least this time around, we did not get Lacey Evans' shoe peeling off. And even Michael Cole messed with her, saying, oh, let's hope that her shoe, that the heel of it doesn't rip off.
She's never going to live that down.
She's never going to live that down for a while. That's going to take a while. But did she look good? She doesn't feel like a Sergeant Slaughter or Bobby Lashley or Steve Macklin from Impact Wrestling. She still feels like Lacey Evans, who may be doing like this, but her same attitude is the same. If she wasn't parading around going like this and just literally was cold, no emotion, totally destructive, and just did what she needed to do and be incredibly rough with people, and when it was all over, she did like that, no words, and then walked out of the ring, I think that would have been better for a character, but it is not. And even though her boobs look good, and that's it, I'm just saying. And oh, almost forgot. When it came to Bayley's clothes, look, I love me Bayley. As a heel, she's great. She's way better than the face. But you guys tell me below. I don't know if I got a shot of her in her ring attire and her pants. In her trunks, well, not her pants. Why did she go with a white stripe in between her legs up to her crotch?
Look, she got a nice body.
She got a nice body. She got a great butt. But, you guys tell me below. Didn't her ass look 3 times its size because of the black and white color scheme? Her butt usually, you don't see how big it is. And there's nothing wrong with her butt. She moves around like she doesn't have one. She moves around fast. She's strong. But she's a full-figured woman with a nice round butt. And to be honest, seeing that ass poking out like that, like she got bruised and it was swelled up. Let's be honest, that's what it looked like. Her ass looked 3 times the size because of the color in her trunks. So, I'm just saying. In the end, the ones that looked the best was Zelina Vega looked pretty good. When it came to Pepper Nemeth, oh, that girl looked really good. And I gotta say, she's very pretty. Don't matter how heavy set she is, she's beautiful in the face. But next to that, she did good in the ring. But then we are talking about, who was it? Raquel Rodriguez looked really good. Did she botch a lot? Oh, yes, she did. But she did look very good near the end. And pretty much, the one who won was Rhea Ripley, who was number 1. That is rare to happen. And it gets a little more interesting, guys. Not to be sexual or anything. But this girl was struggling through certain points of the match. Particularly when Michelle McCool came into the ring. You know why?
My girl decided to wear a top that was a zip-up.
In the back. Look, she may not have big boobs, but whatever she got looked good. But she decided that instead of wearing a top that could be tied, and could be tied around her to make sure it wouldn't come off, she decided to wear leather with a zipper on it, with a ring. And in one point, I don't know if I got the shot. If I do have one, it's going to be right in my face. This girl literally had it halfway dangling down her back. So if it was like here, where my hand is, where right here, it was like halfway here. This is where it's supposed to be zipped. It was like halfway down to here. I thought she was going to have a wardrobe malfunction. I thought that her boobies were going to spill right out of her top. And I think someone noticed in the production truck, because at one point when they saw her zipper down, the camera stayed totally away from her. And they focused solely on that until I think someone said, Rhea's in trouble. Tell Rhea that she got to zip up her back. Tell her you got to zip up her back. Her tits are about to pop out. So I'm sure after that, because it was zipped up when they showed her back again. So my girl, she's a dummy mommy, or dummy sexy girl. They were going to be dummy mommy. And then on top of that, she decided as a sexy dummy mommy not to have a tie-up top, but a zip-up one to look sexy. And that sucker almost came off. If that thing had gone to zip, her tits would have popped clean off, and everyone there would have been having a damn show until someone could, as she would have to roll out of the ring, have to quickly put her together, zip that bitch up, and let her get back in the ring. So she was lucky. Now, finally, the final match of the night. I'm not going to say anything about Hardy in the performance. It was what it was. We got Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. Roman Reigns has, the 5th longest reign in history next to Bob Backlund, Pedro Morales, Hulk Hogan, and Bruno Sammartino. I think the longest one wasn't Bruno. I think it might have been Bob, who was 5 years. I think 4 or 5 years. No, I think Bob did 3 years. Bruno did 5 or 6 years. Pedro did maybe 5 or 6 years. And Hulk Hogan did like 3 or 2 or 3, maybe up to 4 years. I think 3 years too. But I think Bob and Bruno, the only ones who have the longest reigns. I could still be wrong. I don't remember what the longest Pedro had. I'm sure he had at least 3 or 4 years. But it was Bruno who had the longest. I think Bob was second longest. Then Pedro, then Hulk Hogan, and now Roman Reigns is 2 years. They don't do this often. He's at 881 days, as they said. So, was the match good? Yes, it was a good match. Seeing that when it came to, Kevin was willing to go all out and let Roman whack his head into diamond plate steel steps. You could hear his head bouncing off, or his back. Boom! Twice. He took 2 spears. He took at least 1 Superman punch. He took 2 whacks to the head from the steel steps. And once the ref was out, you see that Sammy was told, get a chair, and he was reluctant to do it. But eventually gave it to him. Excuse me. Eventually gave it to him. But eventually, even after losing the chair, and the ref came in, the second ref came in, and once Roman nailed him, it was done. But once it was finished, it didn't finish. We get the beat down of Kevin Owens. We get him basically handcuffed to the ring ropes. The Usos basically 100% super kick him to oblivion. Until Roman made it very clear, you're done. You're done. You mess with my family. You mess with Sami Zayn. You do this to him. You treat him like crap. You're going to take it. And Sammy, who was very indecisive, tries to tell Roman, stop. Wait, no. It's over. My tribal chief. It's over. And I believe I got a shot of him trying to stop. I think I got it. It's in my face. He says, it's over. Please, my tribal chief. He's done. We don't have to do any more. Please. It's done. You don't have to bring yourself down to his level. You don't have to belittle yourself. Please, my tribal chief. That's what he was trying to tell him gently, saying, please. He's done. You defeated him. You destroyed him. You don't have to kill him. Please. And then Roman hands the chair to him and says, you do it. And he doesn't want to do it. But he's saying, please. And he says, you do it. You're part of this family. He treated you like dirt. He started this. Do you want to go back and do that jackass garbage? You want to be with the bloodline where you know that you will be dominating this ring. This is your ring. Or do you want to mess with jackass? And as he's being reluctant, Roman's shoving him in the face multiple times, pie facing him. But he's telling him, do it. and you see Jey looking at him, because this all, for me personally, in the conspiracy I want to bring up, and I'll probably elaborate on a Gump report, was Jey, after the match was over, was going to put the lave on Sammy so he can be a full-fledged member of the family. And Roman said no. So when you see Jey shocked once you get Sammy hitting him in the back, and that's Roman Reigns, he looks at Jey. He says, I'm sorry. He looks only at Jey. Jey was his only focus. He looked at him and said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I did that. I'm sorry. And then they destroyed him. But then, as they were destroying him, Jey was so upset that he said, I saw his family, man. He beat up on him a little bit, but then he stopped and went into a corner. I don't know if I got that shot. It's in my face. He did not want to accept that Sammy did this. He didn't feel right about it because he knows Sammy was loyal. That's the thing that I don't know if they're going to say, like, that just Alex is going to say or JD is going to say. I'm sure they're going to say it, but essentially speaking, both of them, he saw him as family, and he knew he was loyal. He wasn't against Roman. Roman pushed him into that corner, and that's why he hit him in the back. That's what this is coming down to. Jey walks off. They completely annihilate him. The crowd is saying, fuck you, Roman, which was beautiful. That showed that his heel work. Roman, you did it. I'm Joseph Wyatt. You did it, my boy. You did good. They hate your freaking guts. Not go away heat. Just hate. That is the most heat I've heard of fans at any venue. And since it was the Alamo Dome, that was the loudest I heard people say fuck you in a long time. So he did a great job. But here, and the show, like I said, was good. And I can tell you that the ending was very good. Damn good. Easily, it's nearing a 10. For me personally, a lot of people are going to say it was a 10 show. Me? No. I'll say it's like an 8.5 or 8 or 8.5. There were issues. Like I said, I described them. But here's where the conspiracy comes in for me. And I'm going to make it very brief. You guys tell me below what you think about this, because I'm going to see if I can do a Gump report tomorrow next to trying to see if I can do another video, a review of either MLW or maybe NWA if I can, or some other promotion if I can. But tell me, knowing that there's a possibility that The Rock will not show up at WrestleMania, supposedly, doesn't mean he won't. But let's say he doesn't show up. Let's say that something goes on and we get Roman Reigns still defending the Universal title against a Cody Rhodes, but he's not the tribal chief. What would you think about that? What would you think about Roman standing alone with the title, but not as a tribal chief? I think you're getting where I'm going when it comes to Jey. But, this is just my conspiracy thoughts. And I will see if I can elaborate on it on a Gump report. Of course, it doesn't mean improbably what happened.
Dude, if that freaking shit happened, I would lose my shit. I would be so happy.
Because I called it before anyone else. But that's just me. And I hope you enjoyed this wonderfully good, not great, but wonderfully good, Royal Rumble 2023. Please give me a comment below. Tell me if I missed anything from the kickoff show or anything else I haven't mentioned here. Maybe I forgot about it like I always do. Or you want me to elaborate it more in the comments. Peace.